And we up the Focus Blast. Okay, we have a problem though, we're running out of shields. We're gonna go for back-to-back surfs and see if we can catch a Focus Blast onto our Giratina. That may be our win con now. So we get the first surf off, we get the second surf off, then we're gonna throw one more Ice Shard, then swap out and try and catch the charge move. And we catch the charge move onto the Giratina. Come on, please. Yes, it's Focus Blast. Hello guys, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we are back in the Ultra League. It's only been out for a couple days, but I've been having a ton of fun. I've been running the team that I've run in previous seasons with a ton of success. When Ultra League started on Monday, I was at a rating of 2001, and through 3 days of battles, which is 75 total battles, I'm up to 2399, so I'm up 398 points in only 3 days. In those battles, I've gone 52 and 23 and had a lot of success. The team in question is Dragon Breath Gyarados, Shadow Claw Altered Form Giratina, and Double Legacy Lapras. And why I feel this team is interesting is I actually don't have a safe swap on the team. No matter the lead, if it's a bad lead, I actually stay in and basically sacrifice the Gyarados, and then I use Lapras to farm down their lead so it can have an energy advantage and help me win in the endgame. And all in all, it's something that I haven't really seen people do before, but it's been working quite well for me. So without further ado, we'll hop into these battles. Hopping into the first game here, and in this game we pick up a good lead, a Swampert. I've been seeing a ton of Swampert leads over the past few days. This team handles them exceedingly well. With a Swampert lead, you basically just want to stay in and either mirror shields to win switch or lose switch but have a shield advantage and then farm down with Lapras. In this situation here, my opponent chooses to play out the Zero Shield, where they go straight Hydro Cannon and I go straight Aqua Tail, so I'm going to be able to win fairly comfortably. However, if you notice, I do over farm before I throw my Aqua Tail, so I'll be able to have some extra energy to get a move off on what they bring in next, which it turns out is a Gengar. So they come in with the Gengar, and because I over farmed, I actually am able to get to an extra Aqua Tail that I wouldn't have been able to before. So energy management is super important. They farm me down, but since I have switch advantage and shield advantage, this game is basically all but over. I'll be able to bring in the Lapras. I am going to shield this up in case it is a Focus Blast. It is just a Shadow Punch. So we're in a good spot here, and I am going to go straight for a Surf, and this is going to get the last shield. They build up some extra energy, and at this point I do decide to let this go. Even if I get Focus Blasted, it's fine, and they baited, which is perfect. They come in with the Alolan Muck. We're going to go straight for the Ice Beam to do maximum damage. So they had two Pokemon in the back that can really handle Giratina, but because Lapras is an absolute monster and we had a shield advantage, we are going to be able to close out this game very comfortably. So now we're able to get to a Surf, and this Surf is going to get them very low, and we quick swap into Giratina to Shadow Claw down. They bring out Gengar, and at this point, anything Gengar throws, that's fine. It's a Shadow Ball, perfectly fine. We survive it, and we're able to Shadow Claw down and take the first game. As you can see, Swampert leads very easily handled, and they have been exceedingly common, because speak of the devil in game 2, another Swampert lead. Again, we are going to be playing this out. Again, they're not even baiting Sludge Wave. They're just going straight Hydro Cannon, so I'm not threatened. I'm not going to shield. If they threaten Hydro Cannon, it may be worth shielding. Here I do try going for Crunch, just to see how that plays out. And Crunch is really not the move here, because with Crunch, you're going to have to expend a shield if you want to farm all the way down, so it's really not the move. They bring in a Togekiss. I throw the Aqua Tail, basically so I have some time to think. And then I'm going to be going into my Lapras. Lapras has a really commanding matchup against Togekiss, and if you notice, I throw on their 6th charm right before they could get to a charge move. So if they want to throw a charge move, they're going to have to trade shields with me. Now I can very safely shield this up, and since they burn their energy, I should be able to farm all the way down if I so desire. Okay, so I have switch advantage, and I'm going straight for the Ice Beam. So we're going for big damage, and the Giratina does decide to shield that up. And we're able to get to the Ice Beam on virtually no health. This is going to be doing massive super effective damage to the Giratina. You can see it does absolute loads. We're coming in with our own Giratina, and from here, there's really nothing my opponent can do. We're in a really commanding position in this game, even though that Giratina does have quite a bit of energy. We can very safely shield this up. And they actually do a very nice sack swap onto their Swampert, but I mean, it looks nice, but it's still not going to win them the game. And I swap in the Gyarados and finish off the Giratina. So as you can see, Swampert lead handled very well. And another Swampert lead. This is my first set of the season, and I believe 4 of 5 were Swampert leads. Here they bring in a Shadow Gardevoir, an incredibly cool safe swap. And I don't have a hard punish to Shadow Gardevoir. So I'm actually in a bit of trouble here, to be 100% honest. Because my Dragon Breath from Gyarados would hit for resisted, and Giratina would get absolutely mauled by this thing. So I have to come in with Lapras, and they are able to charm me down. Just super unfortunate. I come in with the Gyarados, and I actually Dragon Breath all the way down. We do have a shield advantage. And hopefully, the biggest counter to Giratina is now gone. They bring in a Cresselia. And unfortunately, we can't quite get to the crunch, but we are going to be shielding this up, so we can get to that crunch, because this will be doing massive, super effective damage to Cresselia. So we're more than likely going to be throwing and then quickly swapping out, which we are. And we go for the Dragon Claw, because the Cresselia is low enough that a Dragon Claw will be able to take it out, which is perfect. They come in with a Swampert, and they know how the Zero Shield plays out, and they resign the game. Alright, hopping into the next game here. Look, it's not a Swampert. I promise it's not just Swamperts. Obstagoon is very, very tough for this team, I'll be honest. But the best place to see it by far is in the front. Normally, if it's the Zero Shield, you will typically lose by just a very, very small amount of health, although that can depend on IVs. If they have a really bad IV one, there's a small chance that you are able to win the Zero, but normally expect to lose the Zero. Charge move coming through, and Obstagoons have a choice here. Oftentimes, they will shield this one, but in this situation, they choose not to, and because of their poor IVs, they're not quite able to get to the move. They bring in Togekiss, and I'm able to switch lock that with my Lapras. And anytime my Giratina can avoid a Togekiss, that is a really, really good day for me. Alright, and they're going straight away for a charge move. I am going to be shielding this up, just because that would do a decent amount of damage. And we overfarm by a bit and go straight for the Surf. Alright, we should be in a pretty good spot here. They're going to be shielding this up, and we get to another Surf. So we were able to kind of trick him into not knowing how much energy we had. We're able to take out the Togekiss, and again, they know how the Zero Shield plays out, so with me having a shield advantage, they do the correct thing and resign. Hopping into the next game, 4 out of 5 Swampert leads in a set. Hey, I'll take it. This is a really, really good matchup for this team, so we will 100% take it. I was thinking it was some sort of conspiracy at this point, I'll be honest, but it was just a weird amount of luck that I'll take. So we go straight Aqua Tail again, and here they actually didn't throw right away. So from here, I'm not 100% sure. Okay, I'm trying to farm down. I'm not quite able to do so, but here I do decide to expend a shield and farm all the way down. So they actually switch into a Giratina, so I can't farm them down. I'm going straight for the crunch, and then quick swap into Lapras. Okay. We should be in a pretty good spot here, because Lapras absolutely mauls Giratina. And Lapras is exceedingly bulky, as you can see, even if they have back-to-back charge moves. Lapras doesn't really care about that. We're farming up a bunch extra, and I am actually going for a Surf. I'm hoping this will KO so I can save the extra energy. Unfortunately, does not quite KO, so I miscalculated a bit there, but we still should be in the driver's seat because we have extra energy in the match. And they bring out a Muck. Okay, this is okay. We do want to see the Muck here and not up against our Giratina. Okay. I am going to let this go because I don't want to waste that last shield. Okay, we are actually going to come in with the Giratina. We should be able to hit it with quite a few Dragon Claws, but those aren't going to be doing nearly enough damage. We try and catch on the Gyarados, and we're unable to do so. They were able to hold their energy, build up a little extra, and then throw. Okay, so this is going to be a tough one. We do let this go as the first Dark Pulse comes through, because we can survive one Dark Pulse. They try and catch on the Swampert, and that's how they lose the game. Oh no. Had they not done that, I believe they probably would have been able to get to the necessary Dark Pulse, but they didn't do that. So at this point, that's basically their lose condition, was I was able to get the extra farm off of the Swampert, and I'm going for the first Dragon Claw, and then it should just be one more Shadow Claw to get to the one that will take them out. One more, and we get there. Perfect. So starting off the season with a nice little 5-0. I mean, hey, we did get quite a few good leads, but hey, good leads are important if you're able to capitalize off them. So we were able to take it, which is good. Hopping into the next game here. And here we get an Empoleon lead. Okay, this is interesting. So for Empoleon leads, it is I would describe it as a fairly positive lead. Here I actually bait. I don't recommend baiting on the first move because they very rarely shield the first move. So I actually did play that incorrectly. And they're going to go straight for the Drill Peck, because now they're in a really good spot. I am actually going to bait a second time, you know, just to see if we can get that shield after all. And we are able to get the shield. Empoleons will frequently shield the second time, but not the first time. So I did make a bit of an error there, but I am going to take my shield advantage and come in with Lapras. Unfortunately, those ice shards are very, very resisted. So it is, I'm going to have a tough task with farming down Empoleon, so I am going to need to throw energy at some point, but I will be able to build up quite a bit of energy to help out. And we build up all the way up to 100 energy, and we're going to be throwing the Surf, and I do undercharge that, and they actually shield of all things. So not a wise shield by my opponent whatsoever, and I go for another Surf, and that takes them out. They bring out a Togekiss, so their whole back line must be weak to Lapras. We hit them with massive super effective damage, we take them out. What's in back? Giratina. Ooh, brutal. And I have the shield advantage, so they resign the match. As you can see there, we were able to take the game. Hopping into the next game, here's a Lapras lead. And again, this is not a good matchup for me, but I'm staying in. I never switch out of Gyarados with this team. I'm going straight for the Crunch, and that is going to land, and they're going to be going for the Ice Beam more than likely, which is going to be doing a lot of neutral damage. That does an absolute ton. Okay. And here I do go for the Aqua Tail, just so I can get some extra damage off before they throw their Surf. Yep, and here's the Surf coming through. And so that is going to be taking me out, but now I'm in a really good position, because I'm going to be able to farm up a ton of energy with Lapras. And the opponent's Lapras, all of his charge moves are going to be resisted, because almost everyone runs Surf Ice Beam, and my opponent makes a mistake there, you actually want to go for Surf. But since basically everyone runs Surf Ice Beam, you don't have to worry about Skull Bash. So I actually do throw to take them out there. But as you can see, I have an Ice Beam worth of energy saved up, and I lost virtually no health doing so. Now I'm going to be able to do a ton of damage onto this Armored Mewtwo, which is good because Armored Mewtwo is extraordinarily tanky. We're able to land the Surf here. Charge move coming through from the Mewtwo. We are going to be shielding this up, but as you can see, with that stored energy, we're able to get the Mewtwo at a lower health than ours, and we should be able to pressure a shield here with Surf. Surf comes through, we get the shield, and a little bit of lag there, but we are able to get that Surf off, so looks like there was some two-way lag, unfortunately. My opponent goes for the charge move. From here, I am going to save the shield for Giratina, as I should be able to farm down. Side Strike comes through. Giratina is able to farm down. Let's see what's in the back here. And it is a Charizard. So, interesting pick. Charizard, and oof. That is not the moveset you want on your Charizard in open. So, unfortunately, my opponent had the wrong moveset, and that ended up costing them the game. Hopping into the next match, it's Obstagoon. Again, another bad lead, but we stay in. They get to their first Night Slash right before we get to an Aqua Tail, so we do get outpaced. We are going to take that Night Slash. You never want to shield the first one just in case they get the boost. We overfarm, and we're going for an Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail lands, okay, and the Obstagoon is going to be throwing another Night Slash, and they don't get a boost here, and we're going to go for our Aqua Tail right before they get to their next one. And as you can see, this is how the match normally plays out, is they're able to get to a Night Slash before I can take them out, and this is going to take me out. So I am going to let this go, because I'm going to give up switch advantage. but Lapras will be able to farm up a bit. And now, having gotten rid of the Obstagoon, my Lapras and Giratina should be in a pretty good spot. They bring out Venusaur, and I catch a charge move onto my Giratina. We catch the Frenzy Plant there, and they bring out, ooh, a Dragon Breath Charizard. So this is the moveset you want on Charizard. Dragon Breath, because it does a ton of damage to Giratina. Charge move coming through. I'm going to let this go, because at this point I've realized that my win condition is with Lapras. So I'm going to throw this Dragon Claw, and they let that go too, which is perfect. Let's see if I can farm them down. Unfortunately, I can't quite. I'm going to let this go. And it is just a Dragon Claw, so huge no shield there. Okay, and the Venusaur comes out, and I am going to need to go for some baits to try and win this. Go for the bait, and now I go for the nuke, because maybe he thinks I'm double baiting, and he'll try and call it when I'm going for the nuke, and we land it and take the game. So a little bit of psychological warfare allows us to take the win. Hopping into the next game here, oh, this is the Mew lead. This is the one game out of the first 10 that I did end up losing, because I had never seen an Ultra League Mew before, and this opponent just called all my baits right. As you can see, this Mew is running Rock Slide, so this is not a good matchup. I do stay in. I go for the bait, because normally in Great League, Mews will trade shields, but this one doesn't shield, calls the bait absolutely brutal. I go for another Aqua Tail, being like, okay, this has to KO, right? And it doesn't. They get to another Rock Slide. I don't want to commit both shields, so they now have shield advantage and a switch advantage, so they're in the driver's seat for this game. This is going to be a really tough one. They come in with a Cresselia, and I swap to try and catch the charge move, but unfortunately it's a Moonblast, so not ideal by any means. You can see I was hoping they had Grass Knot, so I tried to swap, but they were able to over tap by one and throw the Moonblast. A really nice play by my opponent there. And from here, I'm realizing I don't really have a win condition. Maybe if I farm up a ton of energy on Lapras, maybe I have a shot, but still, considering he has a shield, it's not looking good, I'll be honest. It's not looking good. And Dragon Claw comes through, because Lapras is very good if you don't have switch advantage, but you have shield advantage. But if Lapras doesn't have switch advantage and doesn't have shield advantage, that's where it gets tougher. As you can see, Ice Beam just doesn't do enough. Cresselia is so incredibly tanky. And he's running Aurora Beam? What? Why? Stop it. I'm just confused, but hey, I mean, Aurora Beam Moonblast Cresselia. Hey, you know what? We'll take it. Alright, hopping into the next match here. Gyarados into Feraligatr, so some very, very cool spice. This is a good matchup for us. So we should be able to go straight Crunch and win this and not have to worry too much. And the Crunch lands, that does a ton of damage. Alright, charge move coming through from the Feraligatr, and it's going to be a Crunch in return. Okay. And we're able to farm it all the way down, so we are absolutely loaded on energy. They bring out Melmetal, and I do build up to 2 Aqua Tails, and if both of these land, this should be getting a pretty close to 50% health, which is really good. And then we'll be able to get the Melmetal switch locked onto our Giratina, which is where we want it. Okay, and we're in a great spot. Both of those went through, and now we have it switch locked onto our Giratina. They bring out a Gyarados. Bit of lag there, but I'm able to get it lined up with my Lapras. And from here, Lapras is extraordinarily chunky, so we don't really have to worry about any of these charge moves. I'm going to go straight for the Ice Beam, as this would be doing the most damage to Gyarados. And it connects, so my opponent chooses not to shield, so hey, that honestly works out for me. I'll take that. I let this go. Crunch comes through, that's fine. And I bring back in the Giratina, and my opponent concedes the match. So good game to my opponent. Hopping into the next match here. Alright, leading Gyarados into Melmetal. So what happens in the Melmetal lead? This is the worst possible lead for this team, and you stay in and you let your Gyarados get absolutely smacked. and you typically want to go for the crunch, but as you can see, I didn't throw till he threw, because sometimes the Melmetals like to undercharge, and if they undercharge, then you can get to 2 Aqua Tails, but in this case they didn't, so I can only get to the 1 crunch, and then I bring in the Giratina. So the goal is, since I'm double weak to Melmetal, I sack the Gyarados, I use Giratina to kill the Melmetal, and then hopefully with that being their only Lapras counter, then Lapras is able to 2v1 in the back. I am over farming quite a bit. Charge move coming through from the Melmetal. That's a Rock Slide, that's fine, and I'm going to farm up even a bit more and go for the Shadow Sneak. And this should be doing enough to take out the Melmetal, so then I'll have a Giratina with a decent amount of energy. Giratina comes out. Okay, this is the altered form. Sorry, this is the altered form versus the origin form. My apologies there. Okay, and they bring out a Swampert. Okay, so we do have a shield advantage. This is going to be an incredibly close game, and that's a Hydro Cannon right there. So we're able to correctly no shield, and they actually go for another Hydro Cannon. So they've realized that in this situation with 2 shields, they can actually just go straight Hydro Cannon. So good on them for realizing that. I throw the Ice Beam, and I'm going for the Surf. And this may be able to pressure a shield from them. It actually doesn't, so they let that go down. Giratina comes out. Okay, this is where it's getting close here. We shield up the Shadow Ball, and now we're on even shields. And I'm starting to realize that they're going to be able to farm me all the way down. I do go for the Surf, and we get the shield. I come in with Giratina. Oh, farmed down as we get to the move. Oh, absolutely heartbreaking. So close there. Shadow Ball comes through. I tried to get to the Ice Beam. The Surf may have KO'd there, but I wanted the for sure KO and couldn't quite get there. So as you can see, that game was exceedingly close, even with the worst possible lead. All right, we're hopping into another Empoleon match here. And as you can see, this is how I do play the Empoleon matchup normally. You go for the crunch first, you let the charge move through, and then on the second time, then you bait. Because this is a situation where if they don't shield, a crunch would KO them. And if they're interested in switch advantage, then this is a time where you can pressure them into a shield. They shield, so I am going to match. And if they want switch advantage, they'll have to go into a shield deficit, as I'll be able to get to an Aqua Tail before they throw. So I do build up to a crunch just in the hopes I can CMP them. They don't throw, but they do farm down. Lapras can come in. I'm not worried about any charge move the Empoleon has, and I will be able to farm the Empoleon all the way down. So now I have a shield advantage. Oh my goodness. They bring in a Giratina, so they more than likely have maybe a Flyer in back. I switch into Giratina. Let's bait out whatever's in back. A Granbull. Okay, interesting. If I was them, I definitely would have brought out the Granbull there, but hey, you know what? Maybe they were reading Giratina in back. Either way. But as you can see, they were slow on the switch, so I'm able to get to 2 Shadow Sneaks here, and that does so much damage to a Granbull. I try and farm down unsuccessfully, charge move coming through, and since this is a Charm Granbull, they're only going to be able to get to the 1 charge move before I farm them down. Alright, Giratina comes out, charge move coming through, not worried about that whatsoever. We can safely let that go. Another one, again, we're not stressed. Not stressed whatsoever, and we're able to get to a Surf, and the Surf is going to be enough to take out the Giratina and get us the game. So really well played to my opponent there. As you can see, we didn't end up getting switch advantage, but with Lapras having a shield advantage, it was able to secure us the victory. Alright, an Escavalier lead. This is a positive lead. Basically, I just match shield, so if they shield, I shield more of the time. And yep, they shield right here. And in this particular situation, I was a little worried about Acid Spray, so I let that go, and it's an Acid Spray. So normally, I do match shields, but if they build up to an Acid Spray, then I'm probably going to risk it for the biscuit there. So we let that through, that's fine. They switch out into Mewtwo, and I come in with Giratina. Normally, I like to hide Giratina in the back, but if they bring something out that's a Psychic type, like Mewtwo or Cresselia, then I will typically switch in my Giratina, as my Giratina is my best response. So Giratina is going straight for the Shadow Sneak. That does a ton of damage, and we're able to get to another Shadow Sneak, and this will be taking them out. So we're able to absolutely obliterate that Mewtwo. They come out with Giratina, and from here the game is won. We have everything lined up in the order that we needed to. We'll be able to switch lock our Lapras onto the Giratina. and we will be able to have our Gyarados matched up with their Escavalier. So from here, I mean, it's basically just a formality to play it out, but the game is over. As you can see, we bring out the Lapras. My opponent does throw, but after this, I'm fully expecting them to concede the match. Right, they switch into Escavalier. I switch into Gyarados. I catch the Drill Run, and I go for the Aqua Tail. And let's see if we can finally get a surrender. And we get our surrender. Okay, perfect. You can see we do take the game there. Hopping into the next match, again, a Melmetal lead. This lead is very tough, but we are going to be staying in because we are double weak to Melmetal, so there's not really a point in switching out. So we are going to let this Rock Slide come through, and as you can see, that almost killed us. They built up almost to the point where it would have KO'd. That was almost a really good play by my opponent there. We come in with Giratina, and we're in a good spot. And judging by how low the Melmetal's health is, my guess is that it may not be a particularly good IV Melmetal. So we will definitely take that. Rather than throwing, we do want to build up some extra energy here. So we're going to overfarm, and as you can see, let this go as well. Farm all the way down and have a ton of energy for whatever's left. Because at this point, we're relying on Lapras to win us the game. Granbull comes out. We're going straight for the Shadow Sneak, and I believe we have another one banked as well. So we'll be able to get this Granbull quite low and then switch out into the Lapras. We switch out into the Lapras, and this is actually, it looks like a Snarl Granbull, so it's going to be able to get to charge moves a lot faster as we shield the close combat, which is huge. And they swap into a Cresselia. Okay, so this is going to be tough. Cresselia versus Lapras is not a great matchup for the Lapras. Unfortunately, I can't get rid of my opponent's shield there, which is super unfortunate. They do go for the Moonblast, and they get the debuff. No, this is not what you want to see whatsoever. Okay. And they do throw again. I'm going to let this go. Moonblast comes through, that's fine. I switch into Giratina to reset my debuff and go straight for the Shadow Sneak. And they actually let that through, and they come in with the Granbull, and that is a huge mistake letting that move through. Oh my goodness. My opponent just handing out wins, apparently. And we're able to sneak an Ice Shard through. So by shielding this up, we should be able to farm down the Granbull, and then we can get to back-to-back Surfs on this Cresselia. And so long as they don't have a charge move banked, which they do not, we are able to do back-to-back Surfs and win even against the hardest possible lead. A Melmetal lead, we were still able to get the win. Whew. Alright, I will warn, Melmetal leads are quite tough with this team, but it's possible. Okay, hopping into the next game. Gyarados into Swampert. Fantastic lead for us, as we have seen. It's a very common lead right now. Gyarados handles it exceedingly well. I'm building up energy until they throw. Let's see if they do Sludge Me or if they bait. Nope, it's just the Hydro Cannon. I'm going to go straight for the Aqua Tail, and that's going to be doing some nice chunk damage there. And I go straight for the Aqua Tail before they're able to throw. So I am expecting a shield here, to be honest. Yep, because they have a lot of stored energy. Charge move coming through from the Swampert. We'll see if it is the Sludge Wave. Nope, just the Hydro Cannon. And they get to another one. And since they did shield, I am actually going to let this go, because I'm completely fine with giving up switch advantage so long as I have shield advantage. I am going to be coming in with my Lapras, farming down, and now we have 2 Ice Shards of energy to work with, and they bring out a Registeel. So Registeel versus Lapras is normally a terrible matchup, but the good news is we have a shield advantage, and on top of that, we have a Giratina that we can swap into. As we do shield up the Focus Blast, and we're going to be going for the back-to-back Surfs, and we're more than likely going to need to catch a Focus Blast onto Giratina here. First Surf comes through, second Surf coming through as well, then it should just be one more Ice Shard, and then we're going to switch. So one more Ice Shard, we switch, and we catch the move. Come on, please be Focus Blast. And it's Focus Blast. Oh, that does absolutely nothing. Oh my goodness. And they switch into a Lugia. And at this point, I'm accidentally going for the wrong charge move. I should be going for Shadow Sneak. I was just so happy that I caught it. and I had never seen a Lugia in Ultra before, so ignore these Dragon Claws. You should be going for Shadow Sneaks. And even those Dragon Claws are adding up quite a bit, and we are able to get now to the correct move, the Shadow Sneak, and that does super effective damage. And we're actually going to let this go. So this Aeroblast is going to be taking us out because Aeroblast is insane, and Lapras is able to farm that up. And they just have the Registeel in the back. So at this point, we're in a really good spot, as we'll be able to, force the quit. So that was someone who was ranked 10 in Season 1, and we were able to get the win with this team, and a very nice catch onto our Giratina. Alright, hopping into the next game here. Okay. And we're leading Gyarados into Cresselia. This lead was more common in previous seasons, but I would say is less so this season. And for this matchup, you do really want them to not have Grass Knot. If they have Grass Knot, it's typically a losing matchup, where if they have Moonblast like this one does, it can be a winning matchup in the one shield scenario. And we are able to land the Crunch, which is fantastic, and we're just building up a ton of energy. We are going to be shielding this up and then building up to 2 Aqua Tails. The reason being, by the time we get to 2, they'll be in range where an Aqua Tail can take them out. So we throw right here, one beforehand. That gets the shield, and we're able to get to another Aqua Tail. So now they have a decision to make: commit shields or lose switch, and they choose to lose switch. That works out well. They bring in Escavalier, and I'm going straight for the Aqua Tail. They're more than likely going to try and just counter me down. This is totally fine. We get the shield, and we're going to be able to have that switch locked onto our Giratina. They bring out Muck, and we bring in Lapras. And Lapras is fairly good against Muck in even and plus shield scenarios, so we should be able to handle this just fine. With the Sludge Wave, yeah, it's totally fine. We aren't worried about that. We're going to be going straight for the Ice Beam since shields are down. It's doing a ton of damage. And we are actually going to let this go, so past Home Slice is surprising myself here. I was expecting to shield, but looks like I knew I was going to be able to survive it, and we were able to get to the Surf, which takes them out. They come in with the Escavalier, counter us down, but from here, yeah, there's basically not a point in playing this out. I let this go in case it's an Acid Spray. That's basically his only win con, and it was not an Acid Spray, so we are fine. I'm going to let this go as well in case it's an Acid Spray, and we're just going to be able to hit them with Shadow Sneaks, and from here, yeah, it is all she wrote. Looks like we do have a bit of lag, and my opponent does concede the match. So as you can see, this team's been working exceedingly well for me. That was showcasing a 9-1 run that I had, and then a separate 5-0, and even against really tough leads like Melmetal, which absolutely destroys Gyarados, we are still able to get the win with this team. It's definitely unorthodox, and I'm not really sure if I've seen someone run a team like this before, where I basically just stay in no matter what. But it's been working really, really well for me. Anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and I hope that it helps you guys in your future Ultra League battles. If you enjoy content like this, or just in general some of the more fun challenge and spice content, definitely feel free to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.